All rise, we're in court. The captain is here. Captain, good morning.
Good morning, Lily.
How are you?
I'm good, yes, sir.
I'm doing well.
Yes,
I'm doing well.
This morning, as always.
You know, I love it when I'm here on the show.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, to serve the people and then
Of course, to serve the good people. I just hate to wake up at dawn,
That
but
is always an issue.
but once
I have always remembered the number of times I have to look at my alarm, and the thinking is that, will you put it off? But
I always
what
snooze
happened?
my alarm. I'm not sure there's any day I haven't snoozed my alarm. I always do.
Yes,
Anytime
yes.
my alarm
But you have
blows
to
or my
serve
alarm
the
goes
people,
off,
so
I just
it's always
snooze,
good
yeah.
that we come here and serve.
Well,
a lot of people are in bed.
We love you. You
Yes,
see, you see what we go through just to serve you. That shows how much we love
all those in bed.
you know, enjoying us while they are in bed.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
Anyway, Captain, we are in court now. What's up?
Yes.
Yesterday,
The whole country was waiting with bated breath
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
see what the Supreme Court was going to say in relation to Aban Babin's decision on the 17th of October. And yesterday, yes, a seven-member panel of the Supreme Court, presided over by the Chief Justice, Gertrude Arabai Sabasaki Tokonu, called a case. In fact, interestingly, when the matter was called, two of the three parties were present, one absent.
Yeah.
And interestingly, we found out that lawyers of the Speaker were absent from yesterday's proceedings. It wasn't clear to the court how or why they did not come. The first thing that came to the fore, you know that when the case is called, the parties will announce themselves. So the first was the plaintiff's lawyers, Jogate, and then Parkisi Abedu for the plaintiff, that's Afenyo Markin. Afenyo Markin himself personally was in court yesterday. Then the turn of the Speaker, so there was nobody, no legal representation.
No show.
No show in relation to the Speaker's angle. Then the Attorney General, together with the two deputies. In fact, it was the Alfred Tuyayebwa who announced the presence of the other team, together with Dina Asonaba Dapa. And then moments later, the Attorney General himself arrived. And so the court was asking nobody for the Speaker, and indeed there was nobody. And the court also noted that the directive on the 30th for them to file the statement of case and memorandum of issues, if any, were also not filed.
Okay.
And so it was clear that they were not part of, or they will not be part of that particular proceeding. So as the business for the day was, the court will have to continue. So lawyers of the plaintiff, Alexander Afenyo Markins, led by Honorable Joe Gate, had the opportunity to highlight, because they have already filed their processes before the court, to highlight some of the things that they want the court to take note of.
Okay.
And they did. In fact, initially the court said you have 5 minutes, and within 5 minutes, he was done. The Attorney General had his turn, and it took more than 5 minutes to be able to put his case across. Some of the issues that he initially put forth were rendered moot because of the decision that was taken on the 30th when the Speaker's motion or application was dismissed. And in fact, the Attorney General wants to make the point that, yes, that particular point that the court is already aware based on the ruling. And Justice Amadou Tanko had to say that, no, we were not part of that party. You notice that the applications were dealt with by 5-member panel. Justice Amadou Tanko and Justice Lovely Johnson were not part because of the interlocutory issue that they were there. But the substantive panel was the one that they were part, so they were added to it and said, we need to get more information from you, so you have to appreciate that for them. And the effect of the Attorney General's submission was that the ruling or the decision taken by the Speaker was erroneous in the eyes of the provision, Article 97, 1G and H, which talk about these two issues about how a member of Parliament can vacate his seat and all. He said everything is left to the Constitution. No institution, no individual, like Aban Babin did, will be allowed to do that. So the Supreme Court should hand down, or what the Supreme Court says that Constitution, 1990 Constitution is what it is. So the panel of 7 yesterday had to adjourn the case. You notice that I was telling Lantam yesterday that once they are given the opportunity to advance argument, to make their submissions, two things will happen. It is like either they adjourn it when they realize that probably what they filed in their statements hasn't changed so much the intention or the decision of the court. Probably they might have already come out with something. That's when they go ahead to deliver their decision. But when they note that there are certain things that their minds have been drawn to, especially also because two of the panel members were not part of the initial applications that were heard, it will always be fair that they adjourn for judgment. So today, all eyes will be on the Supreme Court, the 4 members of Parliament whose fates were decided by the Speaker of Parliament will also know their fate today in relation to this one. So the most interesting thing is that yesterday the case was heard, parties were given the opportunity to argue by conspicuously missing lawyers of the Speaker of Parliament. But you note what? At the last court sitting before today, when the issue, and the Attorney General was saying that no, the Speaker of Parliament procuring the services of title sorry was wrong, was unlawful, because the Parliament as an institution, the Attorney General, the principal legal advisor of the state, has the responsibility to defend institutions such as the Parliament. Okay. And when the Speaker had the opportunity to address the media, he note what he said. The Attorney General's position is different from mine. So how then would he represent me?
Exactly.
Title sorry that day, when he was asked to file the statement of case and memorandum of issues, indicated to the court that he would need instructions from his client, and the client is the Speaker. And so we do not know whether the instruction from the Speaker was that I do not want to contest this case anymore, let's pull out, or we have a strategy, let the case go on without me. So that is what we do not know. Yesterday after the sitting, just when the case was about to be adjourned, the AG want the court to reprimand the absent or the lawyers of the speaker for not showing respect to the court. And the court said, you are the leader of the bar. Would you have found out why they are not here? The AG said, I sent a team to verify, and they are in court here and all that. But the court said, leave that to us. When we deliver our judgment, whatever concerns or recommendations or message they have for the Speaker and his lawyers who were absent in court yesterday, they would tell us. But very interesting. After the moment, Alexander Afenyamake said he wants to talk politics. Let's hear some of the things. He said, look, you want me to go and sit on the minority seat? Lie spiritually. It's not even good. When the elections are just about a few days away from election. Let's hear from Alexander Afenyamake.
The Council of State reached out to me again that they have spoken to Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Speaker concedes that he has not made a ruling and that the NDC will move to their own seat. He gave them the assurance. Council of State communicated that to us. We said, okay, if in all of these Mr. Speaker decides to resign, what should I do? I should go and sit on the minority seat? Spiritually, it's not even good. You have 3 weeks to election. I should go and sit on minority. Is that my seat? I won't dare sit there.
You want me to go and sit in there?
Yeah.
But what he's saying, does that mean when he sits on the minority seat, then he loses the majority?
Well, maybe his pastors or whoever have told him that.
I just
do not sit on
I'm wondering if all the other
side
parliamentarians are also thinking that way, that the moment you do certain things spiritually.
Well, he is the leader of the caucus.
Okay, so he
felt if he feels this way, probably that's what his colleagues
I'm sure it's one of the reasons.
feel.
So yesterday he poured his heart out and gave it to the Speaker.
And then he also, I saw him some videos where he recommended journalists for failing to acknowledge him as the
majority leader.
Well, as it stands, is he not?
Yeah, he is a majority.
Yeah, exactly. He's the majority leader.
Decision of the court.
Exactly.
He is the majority leader because Parliament is as it were before the Speaker took that decision. So he's still the majority leader. And yesterday he said, no, I am not the leader of MPP in Parliament, no, I am a minority leader. I address me as the majority leader. I remember one of the reporters from the City FM was even doing a live report. He had to walk in. Yes, and say that address me as the majority leader. Quite interesting there. So he still wants his position or his portfolio.
Well, that will be determined by the court.
Yes,
we'll put finality to who is the majority, who is in the minority today.
It will be decided today. But what it is before the decision of the court is that he is the majority leader, and then the NDC caucus are in the minority because the decision of the Speaker of Parliament has been stayed, and is still the parliament is still the same way as it was composed when this parliament started. So that is what. So today, all eyes will be on the 7 wise men. Yes.
I like that.
The 7 wise men will have to take a decision. So the 4 will know their fate. Aban Babi will also know
you report from the court. Are you anticipating a unanimous decision?
It's quite very interesting when it has to do with constitutional interpretation. Yes, so these are the possible outcomes. 7-0, 6-1, 5-2, or 4-3. 4
coach.
possible.
He's not the captain, he's the coach.
Yes.
He's a football pundit.
So the formation is that. It's either the coach will
pundit.
decide to play 7-0, will decide to play with no goalkeeper. Or 1 goalkeeper in 6 outfield players. Or decide to play defense. 2 defenders, 5 outfield players, like 4 or 3 defenders and 4 attacking. So we'll decide what the Supreme Court would definitely decide. As to whether it will be unanimous, we'll know. As to whether it will be majority 6-1, we'll know. 5-2, we'll know. Or 4-3, we'll know. So definitely, these are the 4 possible outcomes that will come out as far as this particular case is concerned. So today, all eyes will be on the Apex Court. Yes.
Okay. So that's it for that case. Yesterday also, the Assin North trial came on.
Yes, Honorable James Quayson, also a member of Parliament. You note
it looks like Parliament loves the court.
There are a lot. There are a lot of people in Parliament.
The powers are falling in love with each other.
You know, they enact the laws.
Yes.
And then the court just applied. So,
and interpret
yes.
it.
So sometimes you need to have a dose of what medicine that you prepare and have a feel and look at how it feels like. So this case, for those who remember, it went as far as by-election. His seat was declared vacant because of his citizenship issues and all that. Went for the by-election, he won it, he was sworn in, and then he's back in court. But there's a criminal leg of this case that he's still pursuing. Okay. And then the prosecution is calling witnesses as it. Yesterday, his lawyer, led by Chachuchi Kata, have a motion before the High Court in Accra, presided over by Justice Mary Mami Ikwe Yenzu. But the understanding is that certain things ought to be done. It hasn't been done. So the case has been adjourned to November 25. So James Quayson was in court yesterday. He'll be back again in November 25. The prosecution still has a witness in court who is facing cross-examination from lawyers of James Quayson. So this is what happened in relation to this case yesterday. Yes. And then
was Pastor Love in court yesterday?
Yes, also Pastor Love, and many people will connect Christiana Love, that's the former husband, and you know
now Obapa Christie.
Sometime in October 1, he was jailed. He was sentenced after he was found guilty for stealing a car, a Highlander, Toyota Highlander, and he is currently in his Sawan prisons.
Okay,
but he's absolutely. The 48th month, he said, no, I am appealing against that sentence. So he's filed a motion at the High Court seeking bail pending appeal. And the reason he's seeking bail is that, look, if I am challenging that decision and I still remain in custody, if by the time the appeal is dealt with, I'm still in custody and I win, then it means I have been serving a wrong sentence. Right. So grant me bail, let me pursue the appeal. When the outcome of the appeal is decided and I am successful,
it is different from the previous one.
Good news. But if it's not successful, there's still enough time for me to continue my sentence. So it didn't come on. The processes were not served on the AG's the department yesterday. So on Friday, Pastor Love and the court has directed that he be brought to the court personally. So on Friday, we expect Pastor Love to be back in court for
his appeal.
Application for bail pending appeal. His appeal. Yes. So that's what happened yesterday.
And then yesterday in Sekendi Taka, there was a lot of jubilation regarding the candidature of GHOne Jan Kujo.
Yes, yes. So you note that the case came up here in Accra, and then they wanted to injunct the EC from going ahead to prepare or to print the ballots at the constituency. Now, the High Court in Accra looked at the situation and said, look, you have a case before at the High Court in Sekendi. You've brought an interlocutory injunction to the High Court in Accra. It hasn't worked that way. So I'm not granting the interlocutory injunction. Go back to the secondary high court before the judge and do that application there. Quickly, lawyers of the PC at the time who was injuncted filed their processes at the secondary high court. And then yesterday, the good news is that the injunction that was placed on her
candidature
has been lifted. And now she's free to go out there, campaign, she's free to go out there. And the EC has been asked to include her name on the ballot paper. So the good news for the people of Amenfi Central is that they are
there's already a notice of poll.
Yes,
the EC has also indicated they've started printing ballots.
Yes, so
what will that mean
the
for that
challenges,
constituency?
The challenges for the EC is now
incurring extra debt.
Definitely will have to. You notice that even in the issue of the Madam Ekriadonko, EC had already started to print some ballots, and because of her demise, the EC had to put it on hold. Those that have been printed already, if there's a change, if the new candidate that has been presented by the party satisfy all the requirements, it means that they have to reprint all those. So definitely the state will incur some cost, some debt in relation to that. So that is GHOne Jan on your screen there, happy after the decision of the secondary high court today. So good news for the people of
and you know, interestingly, she's always been in high spirits. Even after the injunction was placed on, she's always been in high. She's always been confident that she was going to represent the people of Amenfi Central.
That's one thing about some personalities that you see, no matter the situation that you find yourself. And to be a parliamentary candidate or to go ahead to become an NP, you just have to show that particular side of you.
Exactly.
That no matter the challenge, how strong the storm is, you are able to stand firm. And she is demonstrating that so far. And you can see from the visual that we are showing, like you have mentioned, she's been a very high spirit. For those who know her, she's been at our studios here a couple of times.
Yes.
And she seems a very strong woman.
Yeah, she is. She
so,
definitely is.
Congratulations to Madame
GHOne Jan.
Yes,
Definitely,
he has the opportunity to be on the ballot.
We are waiting to see
December,
what the outcome of the election will be.
Absolutely.
Let's look at some of the issues coming up today in courts.
Yes,
Sexy Dondon is back.
So apart from the Supreme Court, Sexy Dondon is back. And it is likely that today he may conclude his evidence in chief.
Okay.
His story about what he wants to tell the court as in relation to the fact that he has no hand in the death of the member of parliament, the late member of parliament for Ebuakwa North, J.B. Dankwa Edu. At the last court sitting, he said allegations made by the police, allegations made by the prosecution are not true because he did not kill J.B. Dankwa Edu. So today, before Justice Lydia Ose Mafo, Criminal Court 5, Daniel Esiedu, aka Sexy Dondon, will have the opportunity to further tell his story by way of evidence in chief. When it's done and the lawyers indicate to the court that that will be the story of Daniel Esiedu, and we'll be telling you what he will be saying. The last time we told you about, he started from a lot of interesting stories have come. How he went to a commercial sex worker, a shower joint in Coates, and then engaged the services of a commercial sex worker. He enjoyed it and wanted more, and then all brought him issues in relation to all this stuff. And so today,
sometimes I wonder what goes on in the minds of judges when they are listening to stories in court.
Very interesting, you know. It is when you go to the court and stories are being told, you don't massage it. Like we do massages here, you try to use words that will give a fair representation of what happened. In court, they are so direct.
Blunt,
so if you are not careful, you might even be tempted to be laughing at some point in time. And that is even dangerous. Somebody is in the dock telling his story to try to gain his freedom, and you are laughing. It's not an easy. But a lot goes, and then some of these judges have seen stories of this nature over time. So some of them, it's just been a normal story that you hear. I have heard a lot of them, even worse than that. And sometimes you realize, oh, what is the import of this one? But of course, it has its own what do you call it, impact
or
and,
bearing,
yeah,
on the
matter.
Issue, yeah.
And sometimes you may not understand what the person is trying to arrive at until the person ends. And then you think through and say, oh, okay, this is the beginning, this is the foundation of the whole thing. So that would be an
That's a whole building on its own.
Absolutely. So Sexy Dondon is back in court today for the continuation of the trial. And the indication is that probably he may conclude his evidence in chief. Then prosecution will now subject him to cross-examination. So gradually, this case is heading somewhere. And this is a jury trial, 7-member jury that has trial. Apart from the charge of murder, he's also facing the charge of robbery.
Okay.
And you note that the charge of conspiracy to rob that he was charged together with Vincent Boso, he's been acquitted on because the court held that there's no connection between him and Vincent Boso, for which reason Vincent Boso has been acquitted and discharged and is long gone home and all that. So we will still hear more from Daniel Esiedu.
More stories in court today.
to
And I'm one is back in court today.
Interestingly, so prosecution, after calling 9 witnesses, closed their case. Now, lawyers of Nam1 indicate that listening to the stories of the prosecution, the witnesses who have come to court, no sufficient evidence have been adduced to say that the charges that have been preferred against Nam1 should be sustained. And so they filed for submission of no case, which even if they did not file, the court had a mandate to assess the evidence on the face value, not to assess the evidence in its totality, because at that particular point in time, it was only one-sided story. So he said that if you look at the one-sided story being told by prosecution witnesses, there's nothing much for me to open my defense. The court held that, look, some of the things that you have done, some of the witnesses did not come. Prosecution called 9 out of 11. So those witnesses who did not come in relation to those charges that were preferred against Naman were taken out. So it reduced the count to about 35 or so.
Okay.
Now, he said that, look, the court ordered him to open his defense and file his witness statement to come, so that he said we'll call at least not more than 3 witnesses. He said, no, I'm challenging that order for me to open my defense at the Court of Appeal. So there is a motion before the High Court to tell the High Court that stay proceeding, hold on, I am going to challenge your order for me to open my defense at the Court of Appeal. So today, before Justice N.S. Owusu-Dapah, Justice of the Court of Appeal, Nam1 is expected to move the motion, and also will be expected to file his processes by way of witness statement and other disclosure document, because the court is saying that file these processes and you can continue with the appeal. The court will not stop its work and will know. So we expect the customer, earlier they are still warning that government should be able to come to their aid because elections are coming. And if Men's Gold customer did not get what they want, election time, they will take a decision. So I have seen a lot of messages and all that, that they are asking their members to come to court today because interesting things will happen. So that is Nam1 on your screen and one of the court sittings there. So today, he will be back in court to have that motion move. And his lawyer is Kwame Buafo.
Okay.
Yes. So that's what will happen in Nam1's case.
And then Alhaji Collins Dauda, is he coming back today?
Yes, Alhaji Collins Dauda will be back in court today, the man in white. And
the man in white,
he said he liked
I think we need to call him Alhaji in white.
Or you see him in white, all the time you see him, he is in white and all that. And he loved that because he believed that white attract angels and white is a good omen and all that. So today he's expected in court together with 3 others. Alhaji Zibrim Yakubu. Alhaji Zibrim Yakubu is unwell, so for him, ever since the trial, his plea was taken and the trial began, he's been excused from the court proceeding. He says his lawyers should represent, except when the court needs him, they will bring him to court. But Kwekwajiman Mensah, a former minister, is also in court. Then Nuvitete Angelo is also in court. So they are 4. The contractor in the matter had passed on, so his record has been already expunged from the record. So today we expect prosecution witness to come to court, and then the court proceedings will go on. So that's what we do expect in relation to what will be happening at the courts today.
It appears it's going to be a busy day for you.
Very, very busy day. Starting
wish
from
you all
the
the
Supreme
best.
Court. Thank you. Days like this, you don't wish to be in my shoes.
I know.
I know. A lot.
Yeah.
But God is with us.
Absolutely. So, all rise again.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Captain. That's Murtala Inusah, our legal affairs correspondent with court today.